you'll ever need to tackle your garden and your projects. Now broadcasting alive from Bates Nursery and Garden Center at 3810 Whites Creek Pike, just 1 mile north of exit 19 off Briley Parkway. Or 0.9 miles as the Josh drives. Here's Josh Cary and David Bates.
Oh yeah, everybody knows what that music means. It's now time to climb your tree, don your loincloth, and survey the backyard, because you got to find the project. You got to lay it in the unmarked grave of history. Welcome in, everybody. It is your Saturday morning tradition. It's the At-Home Show with Josh Cary and David Bates, and I am Josh Cary.
And I am David Bates.
That's Michael Stevenson sitting over there, a.k.a. Moose.
What up?
Honora McGarry,
Yep.
capably running the video portion of our program. Thank you, Honora. And we're going to actually have her come on in just a bit. We're going to talk. We have a special project she's been working on, and so it's a pretty exciting thing. So we're going to talk about that and get to know Honora a little bit. So I guess the first thing we should get to, and here's where the part of the program where we know that I have not done my show prep by getting on the correct screen. So
we've only been in here an hour.
That's that's all that is. So. But we are going to have a continuation of nice weather. By the way, how fantastic has this past week been? It has been absolutely glorious.
When it dipped down into the 70s, I went into work early and worked long that day.
Well, it's just been an incredible run of weather, and we've got a couple more days left of it. Of course, today is Saturday, and it's going to be sunny today. High of 93 degrees. Might be a little warmer, maybe mid-90s in a few areas, but there's going to be calm winds around, maybe up to 5 miles an hour in the afternoon. Tonight it's going to be mostly clear. Low of about 69 degrees. Winds out of the northeast, 5 miles an hour. Becoming calm in the evening. On Sunday, there is a 20% chance of showers, mostly in the afternoon, high near maybe, lower to mid-90s. Could see some areas, depending on where you are, could have some heat index values approaching 100. So
Stop.
Well, I'm just saying.
Stop
that's
it.
That's just the way it goes. And and as we move into the week ahead, we kind of get back into more of that seasonable summertime forecast where we have a chance of thunderstorms. It's going to rain somewhere every day. We just don't. It's just not going to rain everywhere every day. And there's a chance of anywhere from a few hundredths to a few tenths of an inch. There's no particular day where it shows heavy rainfall. However, you can pretty much bet that somebody's going to get it down. Yeah, it has gotten dry again, and so it is a good time to remember that plants need watering. So. With all that said, currently it's about 71 degrees here in the Music City.
All righty, folks, 615-499-6690. You can call. You can join us live. You'll go to a voicemail, and if you want us to call us back, we'll do that. You can talk to us live here on the At-Home Show, or we'll play your voicemail on the air. Michael's have to kind of proof it a little bit and make sure there aren't any bad words.
Yeah, keep it clean.
Yeah,
although
I'll bring the hammer down.
We're not under FCC guidelines here, but we like to run.
Don't tell them that.
Well, it's the truth.
Well, it is the truth.
But I mean, my whole point is that
the truth,
despite that, we like to keep this a family-oriented program. We want you to be able to sit with the kids and maybe get a gardening lesson or two, maybe a project approach lesson or two.
We can sing the Barney song.
Might as well have profanity if we're going to do that.
Oh.
Yeah. Or my little boy really enjoys the bubble guppies, and I'm like, no.
The bubble who?
Bubble guppies.
Bubble?
It's some Nickelodeon thing about some fish with people's faces. It's really weird.
Sounds like an old Twilight Zone episode.
So
remember the one with the bugs with the faces that were the
Yeah.
prisoners?
Oh gosh, that's pretty creepy.
Oh my goodness gracious, we digress. But speaking of family things, David, if you would go in just a second, I'm gonna ask you to go to input number 3.
Well, I'm going to put it on 2 for the moment.
Okay, you can do that.
Remind you that we have a Facebook page,
Yes,
The
we
At-Home
do.
Show with Josh Cary and David Bates. Please share
Yes.
our stream here.
Yes.
So if you're watching us on Facebook, share our stream. If you're catching us over on YouTube, please subscribe.
Yes.
And so you ready for that?
Go ahead.
All right.
And then, speaking of family things, and just to lighten things up here a little bit this morning.
Oh,
Oh, it's one of those little aw moments. You got a little baby foot right there.
that is a big baby foot.
Well, that's it. I think that's aspect ratio
Oh,
or
okay.
forced
It's
perspective.
not actually that large.
No, I wouldn't think
That's
so.
a very large baby.
I had to do a double take. I know that's not Sam, but Sam's got that same blanket.
He does?
Yeah.
Oh, well, that is Harrison Wells Hunstable, in Midland, Texas.
Oh,
So
well.
maybe my family might be watching on the big screen there. They were doing something with, wasn't gigglefish or what is it called?
Bubble guppies.
Bubble guppies.
If I ever had a fish giggle at me, then it's time to find a new river.
Or quit drinking.
Yeah.
Now, I have been watching a program over the last, it's a program called Connections. You can see that on Netflix. It has some very interesting data on it. It's very entertaining as well. But one of the episodes is simply titled Poop.
Oh,
And it talks about the pollution that we as humans infuse into the waterways, and then it's not confined to just rivers, it's the oceans and everything. And the amount of, and where I'm going with this is that the amount of chemicals that fish ingest as a result of chemicals that pass through our body, antihistamines, painkillers, antidepressants, all manner of things. So all
so
of
those
that
fish might be giggling, Mike.
so that's my point. They could be, if they're getting enough Valium, maybe they're really laid back. Who knows?
Oh.
But they did do a study where that instead of Valium making fish more sedate and laid back, they actually made them much more active, and they rather than being afraid of everything that comes along, they're curious and they're
the blue ones or the yellow ones?
I don't know.
Oh, my goodness. 615-499-6690.
I was always curious. So obviously there's a lot more chemicals in the water now than there was, 150 years ago.
Oh, no. I would think we're probably cleaner in the United States than we were.
Well,
Absolutely.
what I'm getting at though is you go, all the people
On
that
an
were out
industrial
west.
level, I would say that's true.
Yeah.
You go out west, these fish were probably, they're drinking bear poop and all that other stuff, and so were the horses, and probably so were the people. They turned out okay most of the time. Maybe occasionally they died.
I don't think it's the poop itself that's the issue. It's what's in the poop, what's
Gotcha.
passing through the poop, I think is the point. So anyway, that's a program that I have enjoyed watching, Connection. So check that out. That's my personal recommendation.
All
If you're
about poop on the At
Well,
Home Show
it's
this
just-
morning.
it's just- that's just one-
615-499-6690.
Yeah, that's just one episode. There
Oh.
are 6 of them about all manner of things.
There's another new show on Netflix, and
What's
I
that?
told you about this several years ago, and I don't know if you ever watched
and
it.
it's still new?
No. There was a new season of The New Adventures of Monkey.
What?
About the monkey, yes.
Yeah, I remember you vaguely.
It's
I
Curious
can't remember.
George.
No. Monkey is the Chinese god, and filmed in Australia. It's
Oh, yes, I
hysterical.
do. That's-
you
it
must,
is coming
you
back
must
now.
watch this.
Is that like Ip Man or something?
No, Ip Man's the bomb, though.
Well, I mean, I don't like. Is it literally about a monkey?
No, the monkey is the Chinese god.
Well, I
or-
got that,
yeah,
but I
yeah.
mean, is it a monkey?
No, it's a human being.
And why is he called Monkey?
Because he's the god, and he can. And he
He
fights.
can-
He
can
fights
be
with
called,
a stick.
He can be called anything.
He can
wants to
fly
be.
on a cloud. Oh yeah, man. Oh yeah.
He needs a new name.
Well, they call him Monkey. Oh my. Well, if you have a show that you would like to talk about, we'll take those calls too. 'Cause
Yeah,
the
but-
At Home Show's not. We're not serious here, are we, David Bates? Or do we need to be more serious? I mean,
No,
we've been
I don't-
accused of being too fun and frivolity driven at times.
Yeah, life's a little short to go through in an approach of drudgery. I choose personally to not approach it that way. I mean, there's a lot of things that come along in life that are maybe not all that pleasant. So we have to learn to be able to, at least I have to learn to deal with things using levity as a means of defraying
It's a
those.
defense mechanism.
Well, it helps me
It
to
is
be
for me.
able. It helps me to be able to cope with it. So I don't want to. I like to take whatever I'm doing seriously. I just don't like taking myself too seriously. So that's kind of where I come at from all of that. So
That's why you're such good in radio.
Oh, well, we'll see. 615-499-6690. I remind you, you're listening to the At Home Show, and you're viewing us here on Facebook Live and or YouTube. So we appreciate you being here.
There's a
this
link
morning.
on LinkedIn as well, but we can't get linked on LinkedIn. I don't
No,
know
they haven't come around
They
to
don't realize who we are, do they?
or at least who we think we are.
Well, we know who we are. I mean, all we could do is bring it to bear. But we see some folks out there. See Alita Robertson. Miss Renee is watching this morning.
Good morning.
Miss Renee. Bill Hayes is watching as well.
Thought he was bringing us some hot sauce or something.
He had a family thing he had to cancel. So, I mean, that's okay.
Your life is busy.
Yes,
There
is.
are a great many things that come along the way, and we'd hoped to have him in this morning, but it didn't work
Boy,
out.
it really did look good too, though. I mean, it was a mason jar.
And I think what I had hoped to talk to Bill about is that he is what I would describe as a before this growing season, a neophyte gardener. He had never grown a garden before, and
He's off into it now.
he is way off into it now, and not just growing. They are canning. They are making sauces. I mean, it's the video that he and his wife put together
He sent
is.
to us, yes.
I mean, if you're not hungry when you start watching it, you will be in a few minutes. They just have done a tremendous job of that. Do we not have that up on the At Home Show?
It's up there.
So you can scroll back down through the At Home Show Facebook page. And
Like it while you're there. We're
Yeah.
over 1,300. We crossed another threshold, David Bates. We have over 1,300 likes out there. So
Well, we've
share that.
We've managed to bring a few folks along, and we do appreciate you tuning in every Saturday morning. We do an hour now, and I think we get it done in an hour, pretty much.
Have to.
Yeah, well, I mean,
We're only on for an hour, so we have to get it done in an hour.
well, I guess that's true. I mean,
Okay.
we could be on for longer than an hour, but it gets a little long.
Longer?
Well,
it would
you
be
know,
longer than an hour.
We did 2 hours for the first 22 and a half years
Yeah.
that we did the show together.
Yes.
So this is, but we didn't have video,
No.
and
And
so
the visual
And we
nature
had
of the
commercial
program.
breaks
and
too.
we had commercial breaks. So we're. I do have a couple of mentions that I do during the program.
And if you'd like to join the family, we'll be glad to have you on too. So,
Yeah, but
folks,
we're-
we were in negotiations with several people to come in and visit and sit on the hot seat. And,
Right. But I would tell you what we have done.
What have we done?
We have gotten a major concession
Uh,
from one of the normally off-camera participants of our program.
oh my goodness.
We're gonna ask Honora McGarry to come forward. She's sneaking on,
Okay.
and you can get the headphones on there so you can be all
She's
radio
multitasking as she's
now you got to
going
get
here,
you
too.
got to speak right up into that mic. Now don't stand off of it. But Honora is of course I've introduced her previously as being the video production side of our program, and she is the director of marketing here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center and for Earth Mix Garden Products. Welcome to the show, Honora. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, we're glad to have you here. Honora has a head full of ideas, and more than just ideas, she is great in the implementation department. But before
Okay.
we get into that, I want to talk about you a little bit. You are from Vermont originally, correct?
Yeah.
And you have a family dairy, is that right?
Yeah,
you-
my parents have a dairy farm in northern Vermont. They sell their milk to Cabot Cheese, so support Cabot, everyone.
Oh my
Okay,
goodness.
geez, there you go. Now, and you have a brother who is still running the family operation. Is that correct?
Yep, my brother is in partnership with my parents.
So, why are you not in the dairy business? It's a
It's-
daily commitment.
It's a huge commitment, and it's a really volatile industry
Right.
as far as the pricing and everything. So I was always more interested in the, I guess, the business of dairy marketing,
Right.
and stuff. And so I've liked to I enjoy working with, family businesses and doing marketing and kind of combining a couple of my passions there.
Well, you've proven to be very adept at that. Before you got to Bates Nursery a year ago, you had come from California and you'd worked for an organic farm there. Is that correct?
Yeah, I worked for an organic vegetable farm there for a while, and that was a great experience. I'd never really done commercial veggie farming, so it was cool to see that aspect of
So
agriculture.
I will tell a quick story on Honora.
Uh-oh.
This is true. This is a true story. She just a bit more than a year ago, we had never met, and I get this resume in that I hadn't asked for that just appears, and I read through it, and I'm looking at it, go, "Ah, she sounds perfect," and I've never hired someone really before that before that moment didn't realize that I had that great need, but once I read her resume, I go, she's exactly what we need. And so she came in. It was an excruciatingly hot day, and she was clearly overdressed.
Yep. I had my interview suit on.
She had her interview suit on and her nice shoes, and I'm walking her around here, and I don't know how many days you had been here in Middle Tennessee, but it was a hot, sweltering day, and she was pulling off her jacket, but she had to because it was. And I thought, she'll never come back because I was just, this is really a bad timing. And I thought, that's it. It's just not going to work out. But lo and behold, I offered her a position and she accepted.
And then she ends up on the At Home show.
And then she ends up on the At Home show.
Oh, my goodness.
But in addition to that,
Brush with greatness there. buddy.
Honora has quite the marketing IQ. I mean, she never ceases to amaze me at the idea she comes up with, and no matter what my thought on something is, she's already done it, which is, as a
That's
business
scary,
owner,
Honora,
as
if
a
you're
business,
anticipating his brain and his. And
she knows what I'm wanting to do before I know I want to do it. So and problems or little things that come down the line, she's really adept, and so I'll take a moment to brag on you, Honora. We appreciate your efforts. Her latest and most recent innovation, and she gets to work with a lot of other really bright individuals in the horticultural field, and so consequently, she has taken the time to put together, and we kicked around some names, but the alliterative favorite was the Bates Nursery Botanical Boot Camp that you see up there on the screen.
BNBBC.
Right. And that link, by the way, can be found if you go to batesnursery.com, scroll down to the bottom, and there are other links at the bottom. You have to kind of look for it a little bit, but it's down there, Bates Nursery Botanical Boot Camp. This is her creation, and what we're doing is we're going to do a bi-weekly on Tuesdays and Thursdays program where it's how-tos on a whole variety of different topics related to gardening and landscaping and horticulture in general. So this week we've got Ben Trest coming up, and that is on Tuesday, right?
Yep, he's doing a 2-part session on pruning. The first one's on Tuesday, and it's kind of a basic just walk through of what you can be pruning now in the summertime. And then the second one is going to be more of a hands-on tutorial where he walks participants through the tools needed and different pruning methods.
So through that, these will be done over Zoom. And if you're a subscriber to the In the Garden with Bates Nursery newsletter that I write every week, there are links right there. If you do not, you can go over to the Bates Nursery website and simply scroll to the blog area on the bottom, and either look at the links there or go to the Bates Nursery Botanical Boot Camp link, which is at the bottom of the website. So check those out. Now what it will ask you to do, you'll click on the link, and then that will give you the opportunity to register for one of the talks. Now you already have approximately how many for the first talk?
We have about 90 people signed up for the first talk at this
Wow.
point. So
Okay.
yeah, it got quite a bit of traction. And the second talk we have around, I think, 60 to 70 people.
Okay, so anyway,
Is there a capacity that you have to worry about?
We are limiting it to 100 people, but we might open it up a little
Yeah.
bit more. We'll
And-
see.
Okay, so folks, get out there and go ahead and sign up so you can be a participant. in
and
that.
we are kind of reviewing our schedule ahead as we speak. You've just put it out to everybody in the company to kind of get that tweaked out. And so a lot of folks are, I've gotten a number of emails already myself about what is coming up down the pike. And people want to know, can I set reminders and all that kind of thing? And will it be archived? And yes, it will. That will, by the way, be located at the bottom of the page. Now, there's nothing there yet because we haven't done the first one. But once we've done the first one, then there will begin to be archives down there. And we also have, in addition to Ben's two upcoming events this week, Terry Kevlin is going to do a whole tutorial on canning. And a lot of people who are new to gardening may also not have their canning skills up. And so Terry is a very adept canner of
Stuff.
I think my wife's probably going to watch that one.
So that's coming up the next week.
Another use for your Instapot, ladies and gentlemen.
That's coming up
Really?
the next week on there.
Absolutely, you can can in an Instapot.
Didn't know that.
I
don't
didn't know
can.
that either.
Huh?
But
So-
I'm sure Terry will cover that.
So what are those some of the other things that I have missed, Honora? Have I not covered everything properly, or have I?
No, I think you've covered everything. I'm looking forward to it because we have a lot of very we have a lot of experts here at Bates, so I'm looking forward to them sharing their knowledge with a wider audience.
Yeah, and we have a wide array of experts that have specific
Yes.
specialties, like in perennials or in edible landscape plants or in soil and soil preparation. So we have quite a wealth of topics to cover, and we're going to be committing time regularly to it every week in a live format. And all you have to do is download the Zoom software, and there's a link in the email about that. Once you click on the link, it will, if you don't have it already, it will cue you that you must download it to be a participant. And there will also be time left at the end, am I right, for Q&A?
Yeah, so the format is about a 20 to 30 minute webinar session, followed by a 10 to 15 minute Q&A session where people can submit
Fantastic.
their questions about the webinar.
All right, wonderful. So anyway, stay tuned. Coming up on Tuesday, the Bates Nursery Botanical Boot Camp.
BNBBC.
The BNBBC. And Honora, thank you so much. We appreciate your efforts today and every day. So thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
And thanks for coming on camera. See, that wasn't so bad. We
No.
didn't- I thought she did wonderfully.
I think she did great.
Oh.
And she's got a dimple.
Thanks, guys.
Well, you're part of the dimple fan.
It's a superpower to have dimples. So, I mean, 615.
You're too proud of your dimples.
Yeah, I think
That's where the angels touched me when I was wet.
Okay.
Okay.
that if you want to believe that,
Uh-huh.
we'll allow you to go with it.
You want to say?
My mama
can
said
say.
that to me. Huh?
I'm good.
You're good?
Oh, okay.
All right, folks. 615-499-6690. Hey, if you're watching, make a little comment so we can give you a shout out. I mean, because we know we've got some folks out there watching.
We've got a text from Kay Matthews.
Oh,
Okay.
She says, "Good morning. I have 2 young fig trees. A 3-year-old tree dies back each winter and puts up several new branches or trunks in the spring. It has never produced fruit. The other fig is in its 2nd year. It is a Chicago hardy. Last year it had figs and died back in the November freeze. This spring it started growing again with several branches and trunks. It has not put on any fruit this year. Should I have selected one branch to keep and cut off the others? Any ideas are appreciated. I enjoy your show, Kay Matthews."
Can I jump in here just a minute?
I think you just did.
I'm going to do it again. Kay, I have a brown turkey fig, and we had planted it in a spot that was in an edible landscape bed where we've still continued to do some things. Tree thrived. I mean, it absolutely thrived, but it never had fruit. I moved it out into the yard, and every year since we've had fruit on our fig tree.
Well, they are sun lovers.
They do love sun.
They, as are nearly all fruiting plants. They have a large requirement of sunlight in order to keep them at a state where that they have the best ability to produce fruit. So,
And mine dies back every year. Since
yeah,
we've met.
and it's not unusual. I have a fig. Mine is called a King Arthur fig, and this is one that that there's really not many of those out in the marketplace because I got a rooted cutting from a specific plant that had some really good qualities. One of which is it has exhibited good hardiness. It's also very prolific. Now, neither did I get figs for the first couple of years. That's not unusual.
No.
But as they get older, they really will be quite productive. Sunlight is the key. Mine is on a southwest facing end of my house, so it gets copious amounts of sunlight. Now, it got killed back to the ground this year as well. I've got probably 200 figs on it.
Oh my!
Most of them are maybe, I would say, about 2/3 of a golf ball size right now. So and these will ultimately get to be about the size of. These are not the largest of figs when they are ripened, but they still get about close to an egg, maybe like a medium-sized egg.
Awesome.
And they're deliciously sweet. So the point of it is that there are many good fig varieties to choose from. They have various attributes. Some have a darker ripening color. Some ripen almost a golden tan color. Some put blooms on a little earlier. There's a whole variety of attributes. The main thing of it is that once they're in the ground long enough, and it may take 2 to 3 years, and they're in a sufficiently sunny enough location, you're going to get figs. And those figs will come even if it's from the new growth. That's where the fruit every year on figs comes from, is from the current year's growth. So now we'll delay it if you don't. I actually had 1 year that I got 2 crops of figs because it was a very mild winter, and I had immediately, as soon as it got warm, I had figs all over it. I picked those, and I had them all again I was picking figs in mid to late November after that. So hope that helps you.
Kay is listening, and she sent in a second text. She said the older tree is in the southwest corner of her house. The hardy is in the yard and gets lots of sun.
Okay,
well, give it some time.
That may just be juvenile. Don't be afraid to fertilize them. Good organic fertilizers such as Espoma plant tone is a really good option to keep those growing their very best. It's just a matter of patience. You're going to have figs.
Just a matter of time.
Yep.
All right, we see Harold Stubbs out there watching. How you doing there?
Hello,
baby?
Hal.
Huh? Harold.
I said Hal is a nickname for Harold.
That Hal.
Hal.
As
It's a
in,
round
how
man
you
with
doing?
a square deal. That's who that is.
Hey, here's something we need to speak. I just made me think. Chris Ladd, our friend, he had his birthday this week. This is the real 39 for him.
Oh, he's on the downside.
39 years old, Chris Ladd. Happy birthday. I think it was day before yesterday. So.
Yep, we see Timmy Edge. We see Joyce Hay. We see Joy Reeves. Of course,
That's my
everybody.
mom and my mother-in-law, both. Joy Reeves and Joyce Hay.
Is that right?
Joyce Hay is my mother. Joy Reeves is my mother-in-law.
Yes, she is. You nice to her?
Yeah,
Are you? Better be.
I try to be.
Huh? Better be.
I'm always nice to my mom.
What about your mother-in-law?
No, I am nice to her too.
615-499-6600.
No, I'm very nice to her.
Oh, my goodness.
So pick up the phone, give us a call. We'll talk about what you want to talk about. You can either leave a message, or you can, as was just done, you can text us with your. You can also message us on Facebook. Whatever you got going on
Make a
around the
comment.
house.
Let us know you're not watching there, folks.
Josh,
Share it. David.
You were talking earlier about the ability to do designs for window packages for people who are having. Maybe we did that. We talked about that before we went on the air about your ability. You have
Is
this.
there anything outside of the at-home program? Do we have life outside the at-home?
Well, not for this hour.
No. Okay. All right.
Anyway, you were discussing a project that you're working on. It's a rather extensive project where there are I don't want you to talk about who it is or whom that might be, but you were talking in terms of this is they have 6-figure window budget.
Yep.
To this point.
Yep.
A fairly substantial 6-figure window budget.
Pretty good one. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
all right. We appreciate it, too.
Yeah. So when someone is trying to, if they're in a new construction and they're trying to figure out, what combination of windows, I mean, what are the kind of parameters that people need to be thinking about when they're trying to make a decision on windows, even if it's not new construction, on a replacement window? I mean, should they be, what are the biggest pitfalls that you see, the mistakes you see people make where they could be maybe spending their money better, or maybe getting something that's more in line with what their actual wants are?
Well, everybody wants the best. Okay.
Well, and
everyone deserves the best.
But the best costs the most, though, right? Generally speaking.
Well, you get what you pay for.
Well, David, the way I view it is that particularly in a replacement window situation is that I try to analyze and think in my own brain, which is scary. I understand.
Whoa.
That what it needs to be done. In Middle Tennessee, Southern Kentucky, all over the United States, for many, many, many years, a wood window was the thing you got. You know why? Because they didn't have anything else. Okay.
There were no other composite materials.
You could get metal windows occasionally. The first forerunners of the vinyl products were out there. But for the most part, windows were made from wood. Now, as things progress through the years, you may see some rot on a wood window. David, it happens. I mean, it happens in the best households.
Well,
okay?
Yes, it does.
And most of the time it's due to lack of maintenance.
Okay, well, now when you're talking about maintenance on the exterior, what are you talking about precisely?
Most likely, when you want to check paint, you want to make sure it stays solid. You want to make sure that you have caulk joints are done, because structures move, whether it's wood, brick, concrete, siding, stone, ephes, drive it, anything along those lines. There's no such thing as a no maintenance window. They have very low maintenance, but there's still certain things that you need to check.
Well, what if someone has a wood window that they put in, but they don't like it painted? They want it to be more of a natural color. I mean, how do they deal with something like that?
Well, what's a natural color, David?
Well, it's a stain, likely. Okay. I don't mean the actual color that the wood is, but if they say, "Hey, I've got this structure that really lends itself well to having a more natural finish,"
like a cabin or something.
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, and there are species of wood that are better than others for staining and for exterior. But if you want to go down that path,
for example,
probably primarily the one that you see the most is Douglas fir.
Okay,
whether it be vertical grain
or as we call in the industry, Doug fir
or D fir. That's D fir. That's very. It comes with its problems. It is a bit hard. And it mills very well. It's a great product. I mean, there are a few companies that will do it as an all structural. But when you think about maintenance, when you're looking at a stained product on the exterior of your house, that is going to take a whole lot more maintenance than paint. I mean,
because it shows every little thing.
It's fading, and you're going to get some things that go along with it. So in most cases today, and it's just kind of the thing, because all windows used to have to be white. Now they have to be black.
It's just a trend.
It's just a trend. But
wait, what?
Black.
Like the actual window casing is black?
Just the same color as your microphone, Michael.
Well, I know the color of black.
No, black is the black is the new black.
I've just never seen that before.
Okay,
you need to get out more often.
Well, I mean, and these trends go. 4 years ago it was bronze, and then there were grays, and there's some creams and taupes, but it really starts to add up when you get outside of the norm. Okay, there are painted vinyl products out there now that are. I'm not sure I'm 100% sold on them, but they're very popular and they're from reputable companies. So I'm sure that if there are issues with it, that they will, they'll stand behind them as best they possibly can. But David, when you're talking about what is the proper one, you really do have to do your research ahead of time. If you've got $180,000 or $200,000 house or a $400,000 house or an $800,000 house, you're not going to put 25 or 30% of your
Budget
budget
in
into.
window. Normally.
You might think you might want to, but I mean, people are really into granite
Well, we really
countertops
don't need
and
bathrooms. We'll just put it all in windows.
just put it. Yeah, we just
Maybe
floor
that
tile.
kitchen's
We don't need
overrated.
floor
We eat out a
tile.
lot.
We don't need the Thermador six burner stove with the $3,000 vent hood to keep your house nice and cool. And
It's all about decisions, and windows certainly are a part of that process. And to be fair in people's logic, there's no part of the house that everybody's going to see when they drive by. Beyond, the windows, everybody sees. If
Right.
they see your house, they see the window.
They see a bunch of them. There are still places in the country that will use a premium quality product on the front, put the labels on it, and then go down the sides and the back with
Lesser.
cheap stuff. Okay. I never forget we were in a gated community in the Houston area, and the fronts of all the homes on the street had Anderson windows. Gorgeous, beautiful. Trees, fountains, circular driveways, 30-foot tall columns, stone tile roofs, and you go past the sides of the corners of the house in the front, single glazed aluminum windows
Well, that's
around the back and the sides.
As
of the
a
house.
window seller, that's what you call a target-rich environment, is it not? That's
I'd love to be an HVAC guy in that situation,
Right,
because the windows
because-
the windows, they do two things: they keep the wind and the rain out.
Right.
Okay.
But for someone who has bought a house like that and they recognize hey, these windows around the rest of the house are not up to the standard of what the front ones are, it gives a great opportunity to replace those windows almost immediately, it would seem.
And again, they come with their own problems there, because wood windows are premium grade products, and then you get into size matrices, and every brand that's out there, all the major brands, they have their call numbers or their standard.
You mean there's
size.
not a standard size window, Josh?
Sure there is. The whole world thinks it's 3 feet by 5 feet.
So yeah, my standard size window would not be that big.
Well, it would not be that
That's
big.
a standard size window to me.
So anyway,
Yeah.
Now,
Now,
with a wood,
let's just say that you were on the second floor, Michael, and you were building this new home, and you had beds and you had furniture that you wanted to put underneath these windows, and it was a sleeping area. That window is not big enough to meet code. You can't do it.
well,
But you can't get it too close to the floor either, because you've got Sam running around the house, and then you don't want it to go up too far, so maybe he might fall out of that window.
I just say ignore the codes.
Go ahead.
okay, well, good luck with that.
Go right ahead.
615-499-6690 is the way you can get in touch with us. Either leave us a message or you can actually connect telephonically. Let's take a moment to talk about where we are today. It's Bates Nursery and Garden Center. We're actually in the green room at Bates Nursery. And it's August, but we've had a run of really wonderful weather this past week. Next week's shaping up to have similarly cool temperatures, comparatively cool temperatures, and a greater chance of rain, which is welcome because people who are gardeners, when it's not raining, you have to water. So hopefully there'll be a little relief from that. The beauty of container grown plants is that you can plant them any time of year. There's no transplant shock. You don't cut any roots. So you can have equal success planting in the middle of August that you can have in the middle of April. It's just that most people don't do it at this time of year, but it certainly is good. And if you're a Bates Rewards member, you already know, because you get my newsletter I write every week, that we have extended for another week our 20% off everything.
Everything.
That excluding gift cards and deliveries, but other than that,
Well, you ought to give it on deliveries, because you could get them 80% of the way to the house.
if you only wanted 80% there, we might could arrange that. But actually, no, deliveries are not discounted.
Or you start 20% of the way.
There's a lot of costs that are fixed in deliveries, and we just have to try to defray those the best we can.
Yeah,
So
you got to do it.
So anyway, everything except deliveries and gift cards. It's limited to the stock we have on hand, and it's in store only. So while you can order things online, it doesn't apply to the online
There is a
orders. So
bunch of new stuff out front.
we
too.
keep bringing it in every week. We unload
you see the
mini
green giant
trucks.
arborvitae right out here out front?
We unload many trucks every week, and we have, so it's not like this is old has-been stuff. It's the stock that is continually replenished throughout the season. And not only do you get the best plants here at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, as we talked about it earlier, we've got a staff of horticulturalists that have expertise second to none. And no matter what your gardening situation is or your landscape issue might be, bring photographs on your smartphone or tablet along with you, and along with whatever notes you have with regard to, where existing large trees are or drainage problems or those kind of things. We'll help you get the right plant in the right place the first time, because that's the way we do it at Bates Nursery and Garden Center. And as Josh will tell you, we're 9/10 of a mile from Briley Parkway, which is actually 1 mile for the rest of us. On the left, we're conveniently located just minutes from Rivergate, Opry Mills, Nashville West, downtown Nashville. It is worth the drive no matter where you're coming from, including Southern Kentucky, Northern Alabama. Come see us at Bates Nursery and Garden Center, where we're open from 9 until 4 o'clock, Monday through Saturday during the summer season, beautifying Nashville since 1932, Bates Nursery and Garden Center.
Hey, to big Susan Ragsdale out there, we see you watching. Margaret Roberts, one of the true at-homies out there, has got a question.
Always great to hear from Margaret.
Her question, her comment was, is soil sterilization the only way to get rid of Johnson grass in a flower bed?
Oh, no, it's not the only way. Now, Johnson grass is a particularly formidable foe. It is it regenerates from two different ways, both from seed. Once you let Johnson grass get up tall enough, it'll go to seed. It also reproduces from rhizomes, and those are the roots that spread under the ground where the shoots can come right off of. That's the really difficult part to deal with, because those rhizomes are insidious, and they can go under sidewalks. And so you almost, to do it non-chemically would require digging everything out, which you probably don't want to do. This is a situation where that if you use it carefully and use it correctly, the use of a glyphosate type product is
a wick method.
And a wicking method, not spraying it. You're going to actually take the method I prefer is to put like a rubber glove on, like a dishwashing glove, and then put a cotton glove on over that. Mix up the glyphosate. You may know that as
following
Roundup.
the instructions in the concentrations.
Yeah,
yes.
Mix it up in a small container that you can dip that double gloved hand into and wring it out, and just simply go from the bottom to the top and wipe that wet glove with the herbicide on it on the Johnson grass. And that way you'll get it applied only to the foliage of that. It won't affect the things around it. And you won't get it on the soil, which, depending on...
don't scratch your nose, though.
No, you should really avoid that. We've heard that already anyhow.
Yeah.
The one thing we do know for sure that if you probably have face coverings, and wearing eye protection is also a very good idea. Get some goggles on or something, close-fitting sunglasses, something to make sure you keep any possible splatter out of your eyes. But if you do it correctly and do it methodically, you should be able to do that, get very effective control.
Yep.
And now, here's the deal. You have to, once you apply that, it takes a few weeks for it to fully kill all the way back down. So once it turns brown, don't just go pull it out. Leave it on there and let it die all the way back down. And if it starts to sprout and reoccur, then you have to retreat those as well. You can also use a spray method if they're very short. The biggest issue and the biggest thing I see people do incorrectly when they're using a sprayer is they over-pressurize and they use the wrong nozzle setting. You want to work at low pressure.
If nothing else, take a Dixie cup. You know what those are?
Yeah.
Okay, take a Dixie cup, poke a hole through the end of your...
and make you a spray guard
and
out
just
of
make a spray guard out of it.
But even at that, you can't control over-pressurization. You want to be able to use low pressure with a large droplet size. So you don't want a straight stream, but you don't want it to be fogging either. So you kind of want it in between and work close to what you're trying to spray. And if you'll do those things, you can have great success at controlling the weeds with minimal collateral damage, and you should be able to avoid it altogether if you use a little care.
Yep, and Yard Boy suggested maybe even using the Roundup Quick Pro.
Quick Pro has another chemical in it that makes it act much more quickly, and by doing so, it will give you more time. And this is really critical at this time of year. Our growing season is drawing to a close. Now, it might seem that that's a long way away, but you've got to have time to kill down what's there and then go back and see what you have missed, because no matter how many years you've been spraying or how much of a professional you are, we're human and we invariably miss some spots. So
Absolutely.
you're going to want to go back and treat those areas and then have still time to check a third time if possible. So if you do that, that's when your best opportunity comes to get rid of these noxious weeds that are problematic. And we all have them. Probably Bermuda grass is dealt with more than the Johnson grass.
Got another text.
All
Oh, my
right.
goodness.
It's from John from Murfreesboro. He wants to know, when should I start seeds for a fall vegetable garden? What are some good fall vegetables to plant in our area? Any advice or tips? Greatly appreciated.
Well, you're coming up quickly on that season.
Starting seed, though.
That's what I'm saying. Starting the seed. Now, here's where it's difficult, because your fall seeds, your cool season vegetable plants, are as the name would lead you to believe, they're very good as you get into the cooler temperatures. However, you want to start those pretty soon. I mean, probably by the latter part of this month.
Yeah, we're 3 weeks away from September, folks. So
That's true, but you got to get them up and get them started. And this is where it's difficult, is you're having to start them in hot weather as the weather is cooling. Now, the way that is, you may have better success doing it, at least you'll get an earlier start, is if you, rather than doing seed, and seeds are fine, but the penalty you're going to pay is that they're not going to be ready as quickly. Now, we bring in plants from Michigan, where it's already gotten a lot cooler up there, so
Michigan.
they can start those plants early. They also have them in greenhouses that have these air conditioning systems called cool cells on them that keep the temperature down. So the problem is that when you have very warm temperatures on these cool season plants, they tend to want to shoot up and get spindly. So you got to have a lot of
a
sunlight.
lot like a lot of Yankee things going on in this world. Right?
You got to have strong sunlight, and you got to have cool temperatures.
Yep.
So it's a difficult thing to work, and the weather right now works against you. So you kind of got to get a head start on it, but you can't start too early. I would certainly be into it by the time the early part of September rolls around, to answer your question directly.
It seems like, though, like the last couple of years, September and October have stayed really warm, too.
Well, last year is a prime example. It was warm all the way through October, even into early November. So the difficulty is that my crystal ball remains partly cloudy from a meteorological standpoint.
Didn't you use the 8-ball? Well, you turned it
yes,
up?
no, maybe.
Not
Okay.
so much.
So I don't know.
You're not familiar with the 8-ball?
No, that's one of the answers. Not so much.
Not so much.
Okay. But, yep, you got to be careful, because you never know. I mean, again, it could turn off. The first week in September could be 65, 55. I mean, and stay that way, and then get.
There was a couple of pretty cool snaps last fall, too. I mean, it warmed right back up to the 90s, but I remember in September it dipped down in like the 60s for highs for like a week, and then it was right back up to like 80-something.
Right. So, hey, talk a minute about Earth Mix Garden products.
Okay.
And, of course, we are a proud manufacturer of that line of products here at Bates Nursery, and we are also a proud seller of those products, and we have a lot of wonderful resellers in the network of Earth Mix Garden products, and we thank everyone who has become a believer in what we do here. And what makes Earth Mix Garden products different, it's not just that it's organic. The word organic is thrown around a lot. It's not just that we really take every effort to make it a sustainably produced problem using locally sourced materials. What really separates it is its viability. It is truly a living soil. We work hard at having soils that are very rich in mycorrhiza fungi, both endo and ectomycorrhiza fungi, humic acid, things that plants find in nature that they really helps them to have a thriving growing condition. That's what we, the ingredients we use, instill that, and we add the other things that nature provides to make them the very best. So Earth Mix Garden products, whether you're using Earth Mix Garden, Proganics O, Proganics I, or the product that the premium soil conditioner known as Landscape, they're all products that are designed to help you get optimal growth out of your vegetable gardening, your trees and shrubs. So if you're thinking about fall gardening issues coming up, it's a good idea. Maybe you've got good soil there and you think, I just want to give it a little boost. Consider using something like Earth Mix Supernatural or Viragra, which is the earthworm castings, and they are pure, unadulterated earthworm castings. A lot of what you find out there have been diluted by putting other material in there. Viragra product by Earth Mix is in no way adulterated. It is the pure product.
Yep.
Simply run through a screener, ready to go. So check it out. If you want to find out where to get Earth Mix garden products, well, just click on the Find Earth Mix tab at earthmix.net, and there you'll see that there are pins all over. You can zoom in to a location near you, or you can simply by type in your address into the box right here, and it'll give you turn-by-turn directions to that location nearest you. Remember this, success in gardening begins at the ground level when you use Earth Mix garden products.
All right, David, let's take a tour around the green room today and see what you've got going on here.
And I haven't given it a good look. I've been busy this week, but one thing I do see that we've got some really nice dwarf crepe myrtles, both the dwarf, I think that's called a dazzler white. Perhaps Honora, you can help me spot a tag over there. Diamond Dazzler, yes. So we also have these pink ones back here. There are a lot of great punch of color out there. And of course, this is the time of year when perennials really shine. And whether you're talking about something where you get some upright growth or something that's more of a medium height or low growing, there's a lot of perennial things. Apart from the winter time, there's no time of year when you can't have great color in your landscape and in your garden. So we have a great selection of those things. And like I said earlier, if you got questions about how to integrate things such as phlox and all manner of things.
He was great on Star Trek.
I think you're thinking about Spock.
No, there was Phlox.
Phlox?
Yeah, I think there was a Phlox, yeah.
Phlox? P-H-L-O-X?
I don't know. He had like spots in the big head and some
Yeah, that one, I missed that one.
I don't remember that one either.
That must have been on one of the
Voyager.
Oh, you watch one of the crappy ones. Okay.
Yeah, I never got into those. But anyway, 615-499-6690. That's how you reach out and get a hold of us.
What about this glorious thing behind us here, though? I mean, this is just gorgeous. I can't quite reach the label.
Yeah, sure you can. It's right there.
Oh, okay.
I think that's a ramus. I think that's a tall hedge. Is that what that says that is?
Non-invasive. Non-invasive.
Yep.
Fine line fern leaf buckthorn.
Yep. That is a makes a very tall deciduous hedge, and it is more columnar in shape, so it will give you something that grows quickly.
Make a hippie stop.
Will get really excellent height, and it, as it says, it's non-invasive. It doesn't herbaceously spread or put seed out. So it's a big plants that are respectful of natives are really gaining a lot more popularity. You know, we talk the primary culprit, in my estimation,
Bradford pear tree
is awful, and it's not just that tree. It's the combination when you have it and one of the female counterparts that were quote improvements, either Red Select. Those provided the pollinator, and that's where all these seedling pear trees have come from that have really destroyed the woodside areas and
smells like death.
A lot of Williamson County.
That's not the word you used before.
You're right, but
okay.
So anyway, it's worth taking some time to get an education on what you're planting. We've really tried to take a lot more pains in making sure that if we're offering something that there should be a degree of caution associated with, we try our best to make you aware of that.
Because people don't know. When they brought Brazilian peppers out there, it's an absolutely gorgeous plant when it's up and running and got the seeds on it. I mean, just gorgeous plant.
The one thing I would encourage you when you come out is don't be afraid to ask questions.
No.
Now, sometimes in the busyness of life and trying to help as many people as possible, we forget to ask questions because we just do, you know. And I had an email from a guest this week who was, we did not inform her about tomatillos needing 2 of those to be able to produce fruit. Hers is growing wonderfully.
You didn't warn me that I had to put it in a cage either.
Well, there's all kinds of information that can be left out. But are you getting a lot of fruit, though?
The storm got them.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Wah,
It's okay. Wow.
Well, you know.
We had to get some.
you know,
I've
but
got a few, but
that is all part of the learning experience associated with gardening, you
and
know.
the frustration.
And we're all learning together.
Yes.
So,
because I'm a neophyte as well. I mean, I've never grown those before.
well, in some degree, we all are with respect to something we haven't grown previously. So we may have some innate knowledge about how to get something to grow well, but we might not have enough depth about the nuances with respect to that particular plant. So, you know, we all need to do our homework, and if you don't find the answer you're looking for, ask. And if you ask us and we don't know the answer, we'll tell you we don't know, but we'll find out what it is. So
Bill Hayes sent us a text. I just sent the picture over to
Okay,
Josh, but
here.
it's all his jars of the hot sauce he's making. He says worth the wait. Very
It
worth
should
the
be
wait.
Worth the wait.
So hopefully we'll get those up on the screen here before we get out of here. We're coming up near the end of the program here on this week's edition of the At Home Show. We're hoping to bring some other
expertise into the
yeah,
studio
and
at
some other
point.
features onto the program. We're looking at trying to get our
Concrete guy.
Zoom guest line up and running. So we've got some work to do on that.
O'Day said she might come on if we would do that.
So we've got that. I've got Nicholas Stadden, my dear friend and horticulturalist out in California, has a very much a West Coast perspective on the things we talk about. So hoping to have him on the coming weeks. And if we can get our the rest of our things set up here, we hope to start integrating some musical guests. I have a very special one that I talked to just yesterday, John Cowan. Won't mention his name. But we've really got to make sure we got our technical stuff all worked out, because we don't want it to.
We don't want it to bomb like the first couple of shows did, because
Yeah.
we were learning on the fly there.
Yeah, and there's a lot to learn about all of this, and we're fairly adept at it. But you don't know what you don't know, as it turns out.
Yep, and I'm ready to go if you're
Okay,
up there, and
sure.
we've got. These were the gifts that were offered to us, and we had hoped that we would get some friends.
word.
Oh my!
Which one's the mild one? Because I think the one
Gotta
that's
be
just
the green.
ketchup.
I think he said that he couldn't tell exactly, because I mean he bought like every pepper that you had out here and put them in, but he said that the red ones there will take your breath away.
I don't want those.
Those are Trinidad Scorpions, likely, or Carolina Reapers, which are almost indistinguishable. Although technically, Trinidad Scorpion has about 200,000 count Scoville unit advantage over, which is 2.2 million, whereas Carolina Reaper is only 2 million.
I told him. David said, "Bring it,
And
bring it."
Well, and my good friend Mike Allison stocked me up on a whole slew of different peppers.
The one
So-
that scares me is the one that's still in the bullet. That's the one that looks like it would be the one that would really get you. Okay, folks, we're coming to the end of the at-home show. But for this Saturday morning, we appreciate our people watching in Rhode Island and Midland, Texas, and Alabama, all over the United States. You can do so 24 hours a day, 365 or 66 days a year, depending upon
That's
whether
right.
it's sleeping in or not. And every Saturday morning live here from the Green Room at the headquarters of the Earth Mix Garden Network. I'm Josh Cary.
I'm David Bates.
That's Michael Stevenson from Menora McGarity. We appreciate you being in here this morning, and invite you back for the at-home show. It's your Saturday morning